Right. So now it's time to talk about the update statement as well. So when do we use the update statement in SQL? So whenever we have to change some existing data, we use the update statement, right? So if I talk about this data, okay, so let's say I want to change this particular address, okay? So this is one existing row, right? And I want to change a particular row, sorry, a particular value in this, let's say row, right? So I want to change, let's say, this contact name. So how can I change it? I can change it using the update statement. And this is the syntax for update statement. Okay. So first what we do is we do update and then we use the table name and then we set the columns. Okay. So what are the values that we want? Actually, let's show you this so that you will also understand, right? So what I'm going to do is update. First I'm going to write update and then I'm going to say the customer data. So I want to update our customer data. So actually let me first see how the customer data looks like, and let's say in from the customer data what I want to change is I want to change this city from Berlin to, let's say, Calcutta, right? So I want to change it from Berlin to Calcutta. How can I do it? So I will just do update and then I'm going to set the columns. Okay, so I'm going to use set. Now the column, that is the city, and I want the value to be Calcutta, right? I will just write Calcutta over here. And then what I want is, where do I want this value, in which row? Now to identify the row, I need to use the customer ID, right? Because this is the ID by which we identify the rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the one. So I will say where the customer, uh, let me just copy it again. I will just copy the field name and I will put it over here where the customer ID is equal to 1, and I will close this one and then I will try to run this one. Okay, so you see it has already run, and then so since the data has changed, what I will do is I will update the data, I will refresh the data, and then I will try to run this command again to see our data. Okay, you see this has now changed. Okay, so it has changed to Calcutta. Now and here I'm going to also tell you about something that is very important. So if you compare these two codes, this one, okay, let me just copy it, this one, and let me just paste it over here, and this one. What is the difference between these two? So you see everything that we are writing in one line, okay, which is not a good thing. Okay, it is not readable. Okay, it is really difficult to read. Okay, now to improve the readability of our queries, what we do is we try to break the lines. Okay, and if you write the SQL command like this or like this, it doesn't really matter, it will give you the same result. Okay, so how we are going to write it? So we have already the update. What we are going to do, in place of the table name, we are going to provide the table name over here, and then in the column name, now since this column has this value has already become Calcutta, what I'm going to do is I am going to do city. This time I will change it from Calcutta to, I will change it to, let's say, Berlin. Okay, so I will do Berlin here, and then you can actually change multiple records as well. Okay, you can change column 2. Okay, let's say I want to change the postal code as well. So it is right now 12209, right? So I will just try to get this column and I will put it over here, and the value that I want is, let's say, 34, right? And then I don't need all these things, so I will just remove them. And then here it is asking for the condition. Now our condition is where the customer ID is equal to 1, so I will just paste it over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this. So what are the things that are going to change? First, the city from Calcutta to, it will change to Berlin, and then the postal code, it will change from 12209 to, will change it to 34. Let's try to run it. So it has run successfully, and then I will try to refresh the data, and then I will try to use this command, okay, and to see the data. You see now the Calcutta has changed to Berlin, and this value has changed to 34. Okay, so why do we write the code like this? We write the code like this in order to read it better. If we let's say there are many other commands as well in here, okay, it will be very difficult to read this query. Okay, so if you have, let's say, written some queries, and somebody else is also working with those queries, okay, and they will find it really difficult to understand it. right? So that's why we try to break it down. Okay, now if I try to follow this rule and if I try to write our select statement, so what I'm going to do, I will do select all, and I will do from which data, the customer data. Okay, I will write customer data and then I will write where, let's say I want to get the customer ID 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is customer ID is equal to 1. Okay, so this is how I will write it. I won't write it like in one line. Okay, I will write it like this and I will try to run this one, and if I run it, you see it is showing me only one row. Okay, so this is how from this time onwards we will write the codes like this in order to maintain the readability.